use a scale? Why just use a scale? Pull it with a scale.
Because we wouldn't have had to spend time finding a scale. We have weights on hand.
Okay.
It's one more thing that just takes time.
Whenever you did your tip test on the flat floor, you put 150 pounds in the seat. And then what, did you push on the seat, push it over? How did you tip it?
Because here,
Where did you push on the, oh, you had it on the table?
Yeah, we had.
Oh, okay, now, that's right, you had it on the table.
Right.
Right,
Okay.
slowly increase the
Right,
angle.
okay.
so you
Now-
can check it.
Joe, who weighs 150 pounds, is sitting in the chair. And Stan, who weighs 250 pounds, is walking around and not very stable. And he pushes against the chair to tip, and almost, let's say, it almost tips Joe over. Where is that moment taken in your structure? There will be a moment generated by Joe's weight acting down and the fact that as you start to tip, it's basically in the center of your frame and your two wheels on the far side are there. Where is that moment taken? In your structure. It's taken right there at that pivot bearing down at the bottom, right? That's the only place that you have moment constraint. You have a little bit in your sliding tube over there, but it's got that long torsionally weak member running from front to back. Did you analyze that particular situation? You didn't test that situation, or maybe you did. Did you test that situation? Does that tip? No, stop and think. Does that tilt table test that situation? Just as it begins to tip, now you've got it up here at 30 degrees. The front to back was 30 degrees about, right?
Right.
But the side to side was in the 20 some odd degrees range, right?
Yeah, the tip over for the side.
To side, what the first thing that happened on the side to side tip on the tip table is it started to rotate because it started pivoting about the rear wheels, right?
Yeah.
That was at 12 degrees on the tip table, so to get the rest of it, you had to block one of the wheels, right? Okay, so you blocked the front wheel. Now, during that tip test, how much did you test the moment joint that you have down there?
We didn't consider that.
Oh, well, you hadn't done that analysis?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, right.
No,
Yeah.
It was the reason, what I was saying is that when you did it on a tilt table, as you tilted it over, you changed the direction of gravity. If you've got 150 pounds in the chair and I try to push you over with a lateral force, I don't change the direction of gravity. And so you get the peak moment at the bottom of your, in other words, so the question I'm asking, have you run the numbers on how much moment that joint can take?
I think that was during the amount
The
of time
design?
it can take is during the basic analysis, but when it was straight. When it was tipping, no, we didn't do that.
Well, no, it's not, what I'm saying here is that if I push at the top,
Right.
then I exert no vertical load, but the occupant does. And at that particular time, some moments equal to zero, you've got a tilt line, a pivot line over there, and just as these wheels on this side clear the ground, you have a maximum moment in that particular joint.
Okay.
Is that joint adequate for that?
Whenever we initially designed it, we modeled a 150-pound force acting at 42 inches.
And the fixed base?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just for the jack screw, for the diameter of the jack screw, the critical strength, the critical
For the
load
diameter
on
of the jack
it
screw.
was pushing at the maximum possible height.
Okay, and so your support bearing down there for your jack screw can handle whatever the jack screw can take?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
But we didn't
That
test that
answers the
explicitly.
question. Because if you model it for 150 pounds, pushing on the side like that, with the base fixed, that's gonna be more than the other loading that I was talking about.
Okay.
You mentioned you passed the FDA test for the tilt, front and back. What is the acceptable, or what does the test specify that you have to be able to withstand?
Well, no, it's actually part of the 501K is actually
Okay.
a form that you have to fill out and get approval from the FDA.
Okay.
And inside that form, you had to record the tilt angles. It wasn't like a max or min. It was, you simply
But
write
if you
it down.
tilt it half a degree, you just have to put it down in there and let them know.
Right, and then they would judge whether or not.
So did they approve that or not?
Yeah, they didn't get, there wasn't any like specific rating. They just, you were to give all the dimensions and then
Well,
angles.
I was glad to see that your slide down the incline was greater than 1 to 12, because there are a lot of 1 to 10 ramps
Right,
floating around, because that used to be the standard.
okay.
Your budget, I saw what you spent. Did you speak to what your budget was initially, what you were allocated?
The initial budget was $1,000, so we were a little over budget.
Okay, not bad. Looks good.
You have a gear on the bottom of that screw down there. How is it connected? How is the gear connected to that?
We made a cup that has the same inner diameter as the outer diameter of the jack screw is. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
This one here has a cup on it with a bolt going through it and a
Okay.
bolt coming up, so it can't rotate. The other one has, it's such a large diameter that we have, I believe, a 5/8 inch bolt going through the center.
I saw
And then we
that.
have another bolt offset to resist it from being able to rotate freely. And I think I think that's a 1/4 inch diameter bolt. It's offset.
I got one last question. You just flipped through that slide a minute ago. Your 150-pound mass dropped from 12 inches. Yeah. 150 pounds dropped from 12 inches on the center of the seat. And the result was deflection,
You better believe it.
which allowed you to select tube sizes. That's what I got from you the first time.
Well, for a beam, a simply supported beam,
Okay.
you can find a spring constant for it. Or you can give it a spring constant. The appendix in the back of the book where you apply this and it deflects this much.
Right.
That's like,
Strain.
it's like Hooke's law, essentially. So I found a spring constant. I did this at the beginning of the semester, but, and so the material has a yield strength. And in that, the spring constant is based on the I value. So if I is bigger, the material is stronger, but the spring gets stiffer. So, what was the question again? Sorry,
The
just-
question was, it didn't make sense to me when you explained it, so I was hoping you could get a better explanation. I'm not sure where you got the, I think you said 4 inches of deflection from, because my understanding was you were
Okay.
defining this in order to size your tubing members. That was my understanding, but.
So we gave the
how
C
you
of
got
spring constant.
displacement without knowing the size.
We gave the C of spring constant, the frame of spring constant,
Okay.
the nose of spring constant.
Okay.
And we just did, if you drop something, if you apply a force, like if you have a spring and you drop something in it, the spring has to absorb that potential energy, and we could find the maximum displacement from that.
Okay.
And that's just a graph.
So that displacement is the motion of the object dropped on the chair?
The blue one, correct, the blue one is that.
Yeah, the bottom correct.
The bottom one is the displacement of this relative to the ground.
Which point on there?
Is
So
that-
it's the center.
All right.
Am I not seeing a decimal point up? That's 10 to the minus 3?
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
But
10
that's
to the minus 3.
with the
Okay,
spring in
that
this.
helps. So we talk about 4/1000ths of an inch.
Meter.
Meters, is that meters or
Yeah,
inches?
Meters.
Did I say,
It's in millimeters.
meters, 4/1000ths of a meter.
4,000.
So, 4 millimeters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll buy that. Okay.
Maybe drop it in 150 pounds from 12 inches is pretty substantial.
You damn right it is. You try catching it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, that's actually not what I meant by that. I meant, I don't think it's likely to happen. So I feel that my calculations show that it can pass that test, but
Oh,
it's still.
it can happen. It can happen in a heartbeat. A 150-pound kid stands up and then sits down suddenly.
Being helped in the chair, flips out of the hand, to help
Yeah, I mean,
sits
that,
down hard.
in a heartbeat. You can get a 150-pound drop in 12 inches in a heartbeat. It may be with some physical damage, but.
Hence the other requirement about your tube not being up high. Because if that does happen, we
Right.
lost the control of making sure they're all the way back in the seat. They just coming down.
So,
And that wouldn't be comfortable to sit on.
so I would actually, run that seriously, just down below where you felt that the seat was elastically deflect. Because when the chest thing is not in there and they're putting somebody in the chair, that's when you run the greatest risk of someone flopping or dropping into the chair. And so it will deflect that foam down like nobody's business, and then they become looking for you. So I would, but that's fixable.
And I say the
That's
worst,
definitely fixable, there's no doubt about that.
that could even be someone that's not patient.
Right.
That, the chair's sitting there,
Oh,
visitors and someone that's
That's
playing,
They do that all,
Which,
they do that
again,
kind of stuff all the time,
and so now you got a healthy, normal person, but then now hurt on your chair because he was playing with it, which he shouldn't have been doing, but,
The ball still lasts with us.
Right, yeah, no, that's fixable. It's that easy enough.
Okay, let's thank our